The meeting is recording now. Okay, colleagues, you're most welcome for this quarterly meeting of the Board of Directors of Community Empowerment for Creative Innovations. I think this is our very first meeting of the quarter. And as it stands, we have a quorum to start the meeting because we already have like 4 board members here, which is very good. And so I think at this point, I feel that we start the meeting straight away. I'm not going to display the agenda because I believe that you all have it in your email, and so might be following through it in your various devices right now. And so I think at this opportune time, it's time that we can have someone to basically say a word of prayer, and then we see how to kickstart the meeting for today. Emma, are you saying something?
Can we have a word of prayer?
Okay.
We bow our heads down. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of this day. It has been very long since we organized this meeting, but then we had tragic moments and so on and so on. But then we tried our best to readjust and so on, basing on your powers. May you give us your Holy Spirit, your guidance, your development to this organization. I call this in trust and believe in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much for the word of prayer, Mr. Emmanuel. I think at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call this meeting to order and as well welcome you for this quarterly meeting, which is for the first quarter of the year 2022. And of course, the quarter is from between January and March, and ideally, as already has been hinted in the prayer made by Emmanuel, this meeting should have happened actually in April. But later, I will discuss that a little bit. So I would want to start first by making a few announcements. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting will be recorded, and the recording is basically for documentation purposes. Let us know if you have any issues with that. 2 is please have your mics muted, just in case in an event that you're in a noisy background. But if your background is okay, please feel free to leave it on. The third one is raise your hand to speak, or you can just unmute your mic and speak at a point that you feel you really need to. And for troubleshooting purposes, please be able to shoot a message into the WhatsApp group such that we can see how to be of help. And so Mr. Benson will be monitoring the WhatsApp group. Would you please volunteer to do that, Mr. Benson? Can we know if that's possible?
Yes, yes, it is possible.
Mr. Benson?
Yeah, I was saying it is possible. Yeah, I've taken note of it, please.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Colleagues, I think now that I'm done with these basic announcements, I think we can move on to the next item in our agenda, as you might be following right there with you, which is consentment to the agenda of today. As you might have noticed, we have a few agenda items, I think about 13 of them. And at this point, would like to hear from you whether you consent that this be our agenda for this particular meeting, and if there is any need whatsoever for any changes or so forth. And if we can be fast about this, I think would be very nice, such that we can save time. Colleagues, if you consent to the agenda, would you just like to unmute and consent second or something, that we can continue with this agenda as it is? And if you feel that we need to add just a few items, please let us know. What do we need to adjust?
Yeah, to me, the agenda is fine. Huh?
Yeah.
The agenda, yeah, I second to the agenda.
Okay. Thank you. Who else?
Basically, the agenda is okay, but what I'm seeing here, I don't know if it has difference with what you people have there, because when you come close to the end, item number 12, there is meeting closing. This review of action points, and then next meeting, March 2022. So I really don't know how this will be adjourned. Then even the date is 1st of April 2022. So I prefer there should be changes in the agenda.
Okay.
Basically those.
Yeah. Thank you. Is there another comment different from the ones that have already been made? Okay. In case there is none, I would like to make a quick reply to the observation made by Emmanuel, that actually, I also noticed that that was a mistake. Ideally, the next meeting shouldn't have actually been March as such, but July, not March. It should have been July of 2022. So yes, I think that will be corrected. And I think our minutes taker, you take note of that. Apart from that, do we all consent that we can proceed with this agenda as it is, of course, incorporating the some of the points that have been cited, areas of corrections that need to be corrected?
Yeah, to me, I say yes, we can proceed.
Okay. Thank you. I think we have a secondment, and that means that we can continue with this meeting as it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I think from here we move on to our fourth item, which has to do with approval of the minutes for the previous meeting that we had, I think, between December and actually in December 2021, which was the last year's meeting, and that was for Q4 particularly. I think at this point, we can have our secretary, who is Benson Kemisoro, who is also our executive director, read out for us the basically the minutes for the previous meeting. And please, just to save time, it would be very nice if you can only read the resolutions, the action points, and responsible persons, after which we can have these meetings approved. Members can acknowledge if that is true as to what was recorded or what transpired in the previous meeting. Also, at the same time, after this has been done, we'll have some time to basically respond to some of the responses that could have been basically made from the action points, such that the responsible persons can just provide a quick response or update on what has transpired, what is new, and so forth. And I think at this point, Mr. Executive Director, you have the floor. And please, members, also feel free to follow either on the screen or on the minutes that you already have, which were shared, I think, a month ago. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
I tried to share the screen. Yeah. Just to start with, I want to thank you very much. We thank God that we're able to select this day today for Q1 board meeting. These minutes were named as Board of Directors meeting, end of year, Q4. The meeting reference is CECI Board 2021, Q4, minute 2. The date was 30 to 31st December 2021. The location was Microsoft Teams. The agenda number 1 was welcome and a call to order. A call to order, roll call, then we have quorum. And then in 2, we have consent to the agenda, approval of minutes, chair's report, committee's report, finance report, executive director's report. Then we had business, board business, which incorporated adoption of harmonized board minutes tool, adoption of Microsoft Teams for virtual board meetings, finance report, reporting schedule, formation of finance and audit committee, then strategic discussions, where the annual plan, work plan, and the budget for 2022-2023, resource mobilization plan, board tour of CECI areas of operation, then new business, announcements or comments, meeting closing, and adjournment. So people present in the meeting in day 1, we have Ayo Irene, Oleru Popesta, Engeka Peace, Luata Emmanuel, Bida Simon, Vita Geoffrey, Chandiga Patrick, Benson Kemisoro. Day 2, we have Ayo Irene, Oleru Popesta, Vita Geoffrey, Chandiga Patrick, Benson Kemisoro. So the meeting virtual took 2 days, 30th and the 31st of December 2021. So I go directly to the action points. After the welcome, we went further to approval of minutes. One action point there was to do a follow-up on missing minutes of the previous board, and that the responsibility was given to the board chair. And then we moved on in the chair's report. All members participated fully and actively in the board meeting. So that was the people responsible were all the board members. In minute 6, under the finance report, one observation which was made were issues to do with the asset list in the register, but it was resolved that there should be finance to ensure that assets, the asset list and the register are comprehensive, detailing status of each asset and any corrective actions, and then report all assets, establish assets maintenance budget, and that responsibility was given to the finance and the admin officer. and revise financial reports to include, but not limited to, total income, total expenditure, cash balance at hand, and share it with the board for filing. Minute 7, under the executive director's report, key things to look at was that under action point, the report the report should include operational and programmatic challenges and the strengths, including compliances, donors, and the next year plans in the executive director's report. So this is one of the responsibility is the executive director to ensure that those things are all included. Yeah, under minute 8 in the board business, while reacting to the presentation of the chair, members resolved that there should be a space for signature, and that was a presentation, the adoption of a board minute tool. There should be a space for signature and the contact details for the board members. The members adopted the minute tool for use at the day and the day of the meeting. So the responsibility was board and the management. While reacting as well to the presentation of the chair, members resolved that the Microsoft Teams was adopted for use at the day and date of the meeting. They also resolved that a finance and audit committee be formed. The committee should be able to start work right away. The meeting was then adjourned to the following day. So that was day 1. In the day 2, which is the formation of the Finance and the Audit Committee, after a length of discussions and appointments, suggestions of members, so Ayo Irene it was resolved that Ayo Irene be a member to the Audit and the Finance Committee, Emmanuel Luate a member, Oleru Topista be the chair of the Finance and the Audit Committee, and the members all consent. So the members also observed that the report should provide how the board can support the management in achieving its priorities. There should be inclusion of logistics and procurement department on the organogram. That came as a result of presentations of organogram, and particularly the suggestions that management had. And then there should be addition of potential partners, in particular in the report. There should be a clear justification of new organogram vis-a-vis the old. And there should be a way of achieving the priorities, and the annual plan should include the priorities as well. So that is a way forward. When you look at the left-hand side, the TOR for the Finance and the Audit Committee is being attached into it. So these resolutions, the things are down. So members resolve that the plans be shared through Google documents with the members for their inputs. This is now under the work on the working of the annual plans, both the work plan and the budget. And then the third week, and in the fourth week, members resolve that the plans be shared through Google documents with the members, put their inputs in the third week, and in the fourth week, emergency meeting is called to pass the plans. So members resolve that the management takes a lead and they prepare for the board tour. That is under the agendum of the board tour, and then the work plan. So moving forward, I'm scrolling. So members resolved that the annual plan and the budget, including the strategic plan, be approved in the third week of January through an emergency meeting. And I think probably that meeting could have happened. Another, there was a question. The members resolved that there was an important question. A member asked if CES has external advisor. So it was resolved that this question be answered in the next board meeting, which is in March. The meeting in March, which is, I think, happening today on the aspect of the technical meeting. And then, yeah, basically that was the thing. And the meeting was closed the second day at 3:12 p.m. East African Standard Time. So thank you very much. There were a lot of writing, but I was just going through the resolutions. Probably you should have gotten time to read through the content. To you, Chair.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Benson. That was elaborate, and I also think that members have been following it closely. As you're aware, these minutes were shared about a month ago, and we strongly believe that you had time to look through it. So at this point, we are seeking to basically approve these minutes if these were the true minutes that were recorded as per what transpired in the previous meeting that you all attended. Please feel free to unmute yourself and just to speak. This is basically a confirmation of the minutes. So I hope that we don't take a lot of time surely doing this.
Hi.
Hello, Irene. Please, you have the floor.
Had attended the meeting in person, so I just want to say that this is true. What we've discussed during the meeting and the action points are real.
Thank you.
Thank you, our ED, for that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Irene. Can we have someone to second? I think Irene has clearly moved that these were the 2 minutes that were recorded. Can we have someone to second, and then we move on to the next item?
Yes. Hello.
Yes, you have the floor.
Hello. Yes. Now,
Yes.
I think the clear minutes, which we are listening them very keenly, and I think I second them. But my only worry is if the action points were taken, because it is action, so that is the worry. But I second the minute. It's now the action remaining. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Loate. And I think that is the beauty of different perspectives. And as I had clearly stated before, we are going to have the opportunity to react to some of these minutes later. And that means we're going to look at the action points because these minutes are working minutes. It's not just being recorded for purposes of recording. So we want to be able to track what could have been achieved from the action points and what remains unachieved. So by the end of the meeting, we should all be able to do that. I hope that answers Mr. Luate. All right, I think members, we have our minutes confirmed, and that means, okay, I am of the view that we could react to these minutes after the chair's remarks, and we can react both to the chair's remarks and the minutes at the same time. Does that sound something that can work?
Yes.
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, colleagues. I think with that from you, we are moving on to the next item, which is chair's remarks. I'm going to try, colleagues, to be as brief as possible. First of all, I want to thank you very much for joining us for this meeting today. You've always done it, and we want to thank you very much for doing that. We have colleagues that haven't been able to make it today because of other commitments, and we are still very hopeful that next time they will be able to join us. We have, I think, Oleruto Pista that has been caught up with an emergency. We have Vito Geoffrey and others from the senior staff. Also, I want to thank you very much for showing your commitment toward our shared goal of stopping violence, building peace, and developing self-reliance, as it has been enshrined in the vision, mission, and the objectives of CECI Uganda, as you all know. And so this meeting ideally should have happened on the 1st of April 2022 on Friday, but because of a very significant event that happened, which was the untimely death of one of our colleagues, staff, by the name of Aul Alfred, who died on March 29th in Koboko as a result of an accident and while on duty. This, with agreement from all of you, forced us to basically postpone the meeting in honor of the late who died on duty. And Aule was a father, he was a husband, he was a brother, he was a friend, he was a great team member, and at the same time, he was a leader. And I think he will be missed greatly, both at CECI and beyond. We have lost such a huge talent, and it's a huge loss both to us as an institution, to the family, but also to Koboko and the entire Uganda as a whole. And so I feel that at this point, colleagues, let's take about a minute of silence in honor of the late and to pray that his soul might rest in peace. Amen. May his soul
Amen.
rest in peace.
Amen.
Amen.
Um, Colleagues, may this unfortunate event that has happened teach us to ensure that we have strict safety measures in place and that are adhered to by staff at all times, such that we don't have, or at least can prevent, some of these occurrences from happening. Far from that, colleagues, the purpose of this board meeting, as has already been shared with you in the invitation letter that was shared also, I think about 2 months ago. The purpose of this board meeting is for us to review the performance and progress of CECI Uganda, particularly in the first quarter of the year 2022, against the annual work plan and budget that were approved by all of us in the previous meetings of the board. And also the second purpose is for us to receive reports from the management and the committees of the board for the first quarter. And the third is for us to provide our ideas and support for strengthening the work of the organization, whether it being at the board level or at management level. And so, colleagues, your inputs are highly needed and highly appreciated as well. And I am requesting that as we go deeper into these conversations, you please keep time and be precise. At the same time, please be as open shoes, as our driver at CECI would always tell us. Lastly, I noticed that the minutes seem congested and hard to follow. And so I am as well suggesting that if it's possible, we can separate the documents, whether it being reports, TORs, or what, or other future documents, we separate them from the minutes and rather make them into attachments to the minutes, and they are referenced within the minutes, just to make sure that our minutes are very organized, they're precise, and easy to follow. I think with this, all colleagues, I would like to stop here, and I want to thank you very much for your audience. I think with that, colleagues, I would like to open the floor for reactions, and way forward, you can react to the minutes or react to the chair's remarks. And please be specific as to what you're reacting to, such that we can take note and we move forward, and also be precise. Thank you very much, colleagues. Over to you. Colleagues, are you there? Seems that I am talking to myself. Yes. Irene, I see your hand is up. Please, you have the floor.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know, Patrick, what time there.
Morning.
And welcome for the meeting. Thank you so much for welcoming us for the meeting and giving us a brief speech. And for those who are not able to attend, it's okay. Maybe they're busy. And I have only one reaction, and it's about us, the auditing committees. I just want to be honest and open, like the open shoe that somebody just mentioned a minute ago, that we are not serious. Because since we elected, we had only one meeting. I know it's a voluntary work, but our commitment towards this is very less. We had only one meeting, and in our meeting we agreed to several things to be done, but up to now, of course, some of us, we are members, so a tail cannot go beyond the head. So we need to be guided by the chair, and so all along we've been waiting for her at least to organize a meeting, and maybe we see, because during our first meeting I said, okay, since by profession she's a finance, let her, you know, organize for a brief meeting for maybe an hour and guide us. In finance, it's ABCD that is needed. So as we are going for editing, have ABCD in mind. Nothing was done, and we are still waiting up to now. I don't know how long we are going to wait, and I don't know if this is not affecting the organization in any way. And I would love to apologize to our ED and the board members at large that we've not um, been committed. But I hope we will rectify this, because, like me, if I'm given a task to do, I really always want to invest my energy and do something the way it should be done, because we are there to make sure this organization grow. But if we are given task, I think this is our first assignment. We've not yet done anything much. But even the first one already we are disappointing. So I don't know if we are going to change or what should really be done. I'm happy that Emmanuel is here. So Emmanuel will also say something about this. It's really hard, you know. But I wish our chair was here to tell us. I know she's busy. She has just gotten a new job, but if we can balance the two and know, yeah, at this time, let's do this. At this time, even at night, some of us, we can sacrifice and say, okay, let's have meeting at night. If at daytime, many will be in office or doing other duties, you know. So that is few points that I wanted to raise concerning the auditing committees. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that input. And we really do appreciate your openness. And like I said, please be free to be open as open shoes. I think at this point, let us know if anyone has a reaction to the minutes or the chair's remarks. Please be precise. Yes, Emmanuel. Yes, please go for it.
Thank you very much. I think much has been spoken there. My colleague has spoken a lot in the Finance and Audit Committee. Since we had the meeting, we didn't have any other things. Even if we had resolutions and so on, much has not been done. But I'm seeing we have a next item in the agenda. We will still speak about that. But on the chairperson, the executive director's report, I'm seeing that things are mixed up, and really we need to adjust on them. Basically, we have to be brief and precise when we are presenting these things. But it is very good. Yeah, he has done his part, and it's really very good. But we need to follow the order on his kind of thing. Yeah, basically that is what I can add. But in our subsequent reactions and so on, I'll add more. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the reactions. I think at this point, let us know if another person has a reaction to the minutes or the chair's remarks. And once again, we'll have time to react as we go along. Yes, Benson, you have the floor, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just a quick note on your communication alongside the minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really acknowledge and I realize that the minutes are really so much congested. And why they are congested? Because we had a lot of presentations, documents, and all those documents are attached. And there's something which is not been attached there. I think it is the finance report.
Yeah.
I knew if it was attached, it was going to make the document very big and the bulk. I second with what you suggested that some of these presentations need to be made as attachments or annexes to the
Mhm.
minutes so that the minutes are brief and precise.
Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah, that's one thing that I can really talk on. And then two,
Mhm.
on the finance, yeah, on the finance and the audit. eh,
Mhm.
I think the first meeting I attended, and it was really very good. Uh, I don't see it really so much hindrance. Yeah, it is the beginning,
Um,
and then we learn from there. Yeah,
Benson.
good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we have an item that deals with the committee report. So we are going to have more of that conversation coming right there. Um, I think at this point, I just want to pick up from where you have said that we need to basically add documents or reports as annexes. And I think, colleagues, we need to resolve on this issue just as quick as possible. Um, do you all see the need to do this separation within the minutes such that we can have really precise minutes and we can have other documents that, whether it being reports or so forth, referenced just within the minutes, and the resolutions are captured within the minutes and everything within the minutes? Yes, Mr. Ruate, please go on.
I think it's a yes. We have to.
Okay, can we have someone second? Can we have someone second?
Me, I'm in for it.
Okay. Thank you so much. So our minutes taker, please take note that the board has resolved that there should be a separation of the documents from the minutes, and they should be instead added as attachments and referenced within the minutes itself. And of course, all the others, action points, what and so forth, resolutions are captured within the minutes. I think we're good to go. Okay, so are there any other reactions just before I can say anything else? Yes, Lotte, please go on.
My reaction is when we're separating, we will have to make it very clear that this is maybe finance, this is an activity, maybe, yeah, just like that.
Yeah,
Basically, thank you.
yeah, thank you so much. I think that's very helpful. And I believe our minutes taker has taken note of that. All right. I want to believe that that is the last reaction. And so, colleagues, I would like to just give as well my quick reactions, particularly to the minutes in that regard. Uh, of course, also present my own responses to the minutes and so forth. Follow up on one of the action point was to follow up on the missing minutes and so forth, which was my responsibility as the chair. And so I tried to do that, and particularly through mails and other social media communications. However, I have noticed that the former board chair is out of reach, and also for a few emails has not been responding to. I think I haven't been receiving any replies, so I'm not sure if he is okay or so forth. Of course, I am hoping that he is. And in the meantime, I am still going to probably change his strategy and maybe try to find a way of reaching out to him rather through people that could be in South Sudan. Because as of now, this colleague is in South Sudan, and I think the colleague has got a job, but I don't know if it's out of Juba or so forth. Yeah. And so I think I would want to clearly point out, members, that this very action point hasn't been achieved yet. The follow-up has been made, yes, but the goal of this action point hasn't been achieved, which is to get hold of the minutes. And then the other action point, which has to do with item number, I think number 4, which is the finance report. One of the things was to ensure that the asset lists and so forth, registers are as comprehensive as possible, and so forth. And so I think that since we do not have the finance and admin officer who was responsible for this, we would like Mr. Benson to speak to this, particularly the action points under item number 6, actually, finance report, which has to do with the ensuring asset lists and so forth are comprehensive and so forth. Yes. Mr. Benson?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. My apology for not bringing the finance on board and the other key people. Where they resolved that I can sit and represent them. Okay. One,
Yes.
in regard to the asset list, after the meeting, we sat together and then do a thorough verification of the assets. And we had a comprehensive list now as I talk. It is printed in file. Unfortunately, we are not able to share it with you, the board. But I think maybe going forward, after here, we need to be able to share the asset list with the members so that they see if maybe the other things that they need to, you need to put, you need to add or something that we are not able to make so that we can have your input. But I have to assure you that we have a comprehensive one now.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for that response. It means, colleagues, action item number 1, which has to do with the assets, has been achieved. Action item number 2, which has to do with the reporting on all assets, has also been achieved. And then the other action point was to establish, which is the third action point under the same item, was to establish asset maintenance budget. And the fourth one was to include financial report. Make sure that the financial reports include the total income, total expenditure, cash balances, and so forth. I think the fourth one has been achieved, as the financial report shared shows that. Would you like to speak to action point number 3, particularly, which has to do with establishing asset maintenance budget?
Yeah. This is a new year for us, and in our budget, particularly the budget that we submitted to partners, potential donors, it has included the asset maintenance, and because it is a key, so we hope that any funding that comes now, there's already a specific budget for asset maintenance. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Benson, for that response. That shows that we're moving the right direction. I think particularly with this item, with this action points under this very particular item has been done. Colleagues, if you have any reactions particular to these action points before we move to the next, let us know. And please, I can permit you to as well give in your inputs on this. But I think as the executive director could have clarified that some of these have been achieved, at least for the most part. Okay. Yes, Mr. Emmanuel, please, you have the floor.
Sorry, my voice is not very clear because of flu and so on. There was an point few people have spoken. I've been moving through about asset maintenance.
Yeah.
And one of the assets we had in the previous meeting was computers which were in office and they were supposed to be made into use since they broke down.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of our action points. I don't know if there is any response on that towards it, or maybe if we've gathered some money to put them in place so we can use them.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, that is my reaction. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel, for that. Uh, Mr. Benson, would you like to respond to that? From the previous meeting, there were computers that had broken down. And I think it was clearly communicated, probably this has not been captured here in the action points, was to make sure that some of those computers are repaired and that they become functional. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity again. When we have, we had the two computers that they had some technical problem. One we're able to fix, and then one is beyond repair. So what we had to do was now to remove we're, we're running the process of removing the hard disk, and then put a case, cover it with a case, and then we can use it because we can use it and you can fix it in NR. You can carry it like a hard drive. Anywhere you go, you can use it. You can fix in another computer and do your things there, and then save your document there. So that is the one strategy that we have put in place. And currently we have ordered for the case from Kampala. I think maybe by next week it will be in, and then we are going to use that order because it has very important documents, and we don't want to lose that. And that is also based on the advice of the technical person who was working on it. Yeah. So, but the whole body, I think it is beyond us now. So we'll keep that as a scrap in our stores. Yeah. So that is that. We're also looking into how we can really be very careful on using what we already have, how we can protect them. And one of it is we realize that something that you need to put in place is the antivirus. You know, when antivirus is over, computer can crash anytime. So currently we have put a budget to procure antivirus to install to all the computers that are the new one at least. So, and that is one way of maintaining it. And that is already in place. We have ordered already for the antivirus from Arua. Probably over the weekend we will run antivirus in all our computers and remove the old ones. Yeah. That is a strategy we have put in place.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Benson, for giving that elaborate response. Colleagues, as you have clearly heard, one has been repaired, one is completely beyond repair. However, they have improvised that they're getting the hard disk just to make sure there is data, the data inside is safely kept and still used. And also, they have put in place some mechanisms to ensure that these computers can be used safely, and antiviruses have been procured and so forth. And I think this has been noted, colleagues. If you do not have any other reactions to these action points, can we move on to the next action point, which has to do with the executive director report. This is item number 6 in our last agenda. And the action point was to basically make sure that operational and programmatic challenges, as well as the strengths, including compliance, donors, and next year plans are captured in the executive director report. And I think I am not going to speak much on behalf of the executive director who is responsible for this, but it appears that at least the most has been achieved except for capturing the strengths, the programmatic strengths. Mr. Benson, would you like to briefly respond?
Yeah, thank you very much once again. Yeah, such meetings, we take them as a learning ground for us to improve also our performances in terms of our responses and our planning. So, from then, and I think I would wish not to stop now because I am going to also have a presentation of a report.
Yeah.
Then we see whether some of these things are captured. I know it is not an overnight thing; it is a process, and we hope that all will be made clear as we roll together. Yeah, I want to stop there. We'll speak maybe later on the report, but I'm very hopeful that I must have included some of the things as required in terms of compliances, in terms of programmatic challenges, strength, and so on.
Okay. So, Mr. Executive Director, can we have clearly stated to the board that this action point particularly has been achieved? Is that what you're saying? And also
Yes,
for minute purposes.
yes,
Okay. Um, thank you very much. I think, colleagues, this has been achieved. Okay. So moving on to the next action points, which are under item number 8, which has to do with the adoption of the board minutes too. The action points included making sure that there was a space for signatures, contact details, particularly for the minute tool. And the second action point was to make sure that the adopted minute tool was used in meetings and so forth. So I think, colleagues, without much time taking here, this has been achieved. I have noticed, and as you would have noticed as well, this is being used by the board, the management, as well as the finance and audit committee. Okay, this clearly shows that these action points particularly have been achieved. Okay, so moving on to the next item in our last agenda, which was adoption of micro teams for all virtual meetings. The action point was to make sure that this was used in meetings, particularly board meetings actually. But I think this is done and is being used as well, as might have noticed. Okay. The other action points were under the Finance and Audit Committee, and the action points were particularly to do with the Audit Committee to be formed, and the committee should start work straight away. And also, okay, I think particularly the committee, as you all might be aware, has been formed. And if you have a different reaction to that later, you can please include in your ideas as well. And the committee has started its work as it has already been manifested by the contribution made by AO, Irene, in her contribution about the Finance and Audit Committee, which later we're going to discuss. And also we have those members voted and so forth, which is nice. Okay, I think the next has to do with the executive director report addition, which included the report, the executive director, to make sure that can be able to show how the board can be able to support the management in terms of achieving its results, and this should be clearly indicated in the executive director report. And also for the organogram, yes, Mr. Emmanuel, please go on.
You're becoming inaudible.
Your
Can
pardon?
you raise up your voice somehow? You're becoming inaudible.
Oh, okay. Sure. Thank you.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Okay. Okay. So I was saying that the the other action points had to do with the report of the executive director, and I think the action points were that the executive director should provide in his report how the board can be of support to the management in achieving its objectives or the priorities particularly, and also that the organogram that had been presented to the board, basically the management should be able to include logistics and procurement department on the organogram being proposed. And the third action point was addition of the potential partners in the report. And then the fourth action point was to make sure there was a clear justification for change of the organogram or adjustment of the organogram. And then the third was the fifth rather, was to do with providing a way of achieving its priorities. And the sixth being that the annual plan should include their priorities. Mr. Executive Director was responsible particularly for this on behalf of the management. Would you like to respond to some of these issues that have been agreed upon as action points, both by yourself and the management at the board meeting?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. There are a couple of things here, but just in brief.
Yes.
One, when you look at the annual plan, we're able to make sure that some of those things are all, those missing things are all corrected. And that was informed by the emergency meeting we had in the the fourth week of January, where the action plans, the work plans, and the working budget was passed into a policy. The organogram, yeah, we have taken note of that, but we did not, particularly, we did not really take time again to include, particularly the position of the logistic. We have not put that particularly that one is not achieved. We have not incorporated that, and then how the board include, I mean, making sure that the potential partners are mentioned. I mean, yeah, that one we have achieved that one. We have included in our next report. We will see that we have included the potential partners in the report. That shows that we moved on to ensuring that that is done. And then I could say that one is achieved. The other thing is it?
Yes, the other has to do with providing a justification for change or alteration of the organogram.
Yeah, provide a justification on the organogram. We were thinking that in this meeting probably we might have a discussion on it, but I think I'm not so sure we have not made a really justification on that. I could say we have not achieved that. We have not made the justification on that in written. Though for us, Bawali here, we made a justification on that, but we have not made it in written. So meaning that we have not achieved it by not including the position of logistic, and then also making a justification of the two. Yeah, making justification of the two. But of course, in the previous meeting, it was said that at least the two organograms have to be presented and then see how this can be justified. Yeah. But we have not done that yet.
Thank you very much, Mr. Executive Director. I think we are probably done for the most part of the action points. Let me check if there's another thing. Okay. The other action point was under the, okay, I think under the strategic discussions, and it was to approve the annual work plans and budget, which I think has been achieved, colleagues, as you might all agree. And the last one being a question to do with the external advisors, whether they are external advisors, technical advisors to the board, I mean to the organization as a whole, actually. Mr. Benson, would you like to respond to that briefly in seconds?
Yeah, am I on? I've closed my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been thinking as management, we from that meeting, I think I moved on to share with the management that it is very important for us to have this. But again, the question of who and how remains in our hearts and in our minds, because we have to be very strategic in seeing that when you want to bring in an external advisor, you have to be very careful and calculative to understand also the interests of other people. So we continue to discuss about that, and we have not yet really ready a concrete way forward on how we can bring this. But I think we said in one of our management meetings, we said if we need external advisors, we can bring external advisors from wherever, even whenever they are, even if they are far. But even if they are in US, even if they are in London or wherever, or in South Sudan and so on. But provided these are people who have the heart also to serve the community. We don't want people who will come and also to interfere with our policies, and then also bring for us to hijack the mission and vision of the set organization. So we are very careful and very technical in that regard. Yeah. This is my response.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that input. I think we have Emmanuel that would like to contribute. Please, you have the floor.
My reaction here is, for the interest of time, we have achievable action points, and then we have the other ones which we have not achieved. So for the interest of time, we just carry on to the next meeting and give some time to achieve those ones which are not achieved.
Yeah.
The minute takers should be curious on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that has been made clear. The unachieved action points, we expect that we can have a report or updates provided to the board in the next meeting of the board. And hopefully by that time that they are all worked upon. All right, I think, is there another basically reaction to the minutes? Otherwise, I think we are done with the minutes and should be moving on to something else.
Yes, just a quick one, a
Yes.
point of clarification. Where we have been talking of moving out some of those documents from the minutes. Can we do it right away with this? We remove some of this and make them as attachments so that we free the minutes to be brief, or we can leave these minutes like this, the way it is, and then we, in the next minute, like these ones now that we're working on, then we'll now make the changes from there. So these are just clarification I wanted to find out.
I think, in my opinion, it will have to apply particularly to these minutes of this very meeting going forward. I don't know what the colleagues think, but that's my opinion. Colleagues, do you have anything specific in response to Benson's question?
In my opinion, yes, it will apply to these minutes onwards. But then what happens is we will get them Yeah, I think in our subsequent maybe emails or social media platforms later on, but we can't do them now. We can't separate them now because of time. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, colleagues, for that. I think from here, we now move on to the next committee report. Just for your information, we have already spent an hour and 20 minutes. And I think the next is basically we are going to have a reading of a report from the Finance and Audit Committee, which should really be as brief as possible. And we expect that you can basically read the action points of the meeting. The Finance and Audit Committee representative, please, you're most welcome. Finance and Audit Committee representative.
Irene, are you there? Hello, Irene.
Yes.
Yes, can you help us read our minutes? Maybe Benson can help share them on the screen and you read through. Is it okay with you?
Yes. Yes, Benson.
Okay.
Benson, read for us.
Okay, just to capture the action points and resolutions. And yes, just there. That's what we want to know, just for interest of time.
Let me locate them. I remember sharing with the chair.
I can share them.
You have, right?
Yes.
Okay, if you haven't, then it's okay. You can share.
Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. This meeting is the Finance and Audit Committee meeting, dated 19th February 2022. The meeting was held through a WhatsApp group. So the agenda number one was opening prayer, communication from chair, update on finance status, audit, way forward, stock reactions, and closer. In attendance was Topista Oleru as the chairperson, Loate Emmanuel, a member, Irene Ayo, a member, and then Benson Kesoro, the secretary. And the minutes were taken by Benson Kemisoro. Can you move on, please? Yes, Mr. Chair. Can you move on? Hello? Are you there? Yes, Chair. Can you scroll? Yes, prayers were held by Luate, and then under minute 2, the communication, one of the action point was to do internal audit. And then the people responsible is the Finance and Audit Committee. Scroll, please. Yeah. And then minute 3 was updates on finances of the organization. So the action point was budget. There should be a budget to facilitate the audit. Budget to facilitate the audit to be prepared, and that is to be done by the management. Minute number 4 is particularly on the audit. So the action point was there should be an internal audit by the audit and the finance committee in the second week of the month of March 2022. Yeah. And then the responsibility was given to the finance and the audit committee. Can you scroll? Minute 5 is the reactions and way forward. So under action point was budget for the 2022 be established, 2020-2021 be established for the organization. There should be a roadmap for conducting the internal audit be established. There should be terms of reference developed. And the item number 1 is the management to establish the budget for 2020-21. And then the finance committee establish the roadmap, and the finance committee also establish the TOR. So, and then there should, in this process, it should include the tour of the board members alongside the audit. As they will go for the audit, there should be the board tour to the, and this will be organized by the management. So minute 6 is the closer. So in the beginning, I did not mention what time the meeting started, but here the meeting finally came to an end at 3:47 p.m. Yeah, I think that is that.
Thank you very much for the presentation on the minutes. Okay, I think colleagues, we have had the report from the Finance and Audit Committee. Any reactions to the report of the Finance and Audit Committee? Colleagues, any report, reaction basically to the Finance and Audit Committee report? Okay, if there is none, I would like to first thank the Finance Benson. Okay. So if there is none, I would like to first of all thank the Finance and Audit Committee. Yes, Roger, Emmanuel, please go on.
Yeah, thank you very much. I only have a few reactions because when you go to minute number 4, which is the internal audit, which was supposed to do by March and it was not done, as an action point, it was supposed to be done by the Finance and Audit Committee. It failed to be done. But in this report, as you're going here, what Ms. Oliro Topista said was, the Finance and Audit Committee had a meeting. Details in the draft minutes below. We had agreed to support the organization on 19th of March 2022 with the internal audit function before the external audit. But due to the urgency of external audit, this has been postponed. The minutes below give a background of our whatever. So meaning what happens is there was an external audit that was done. And some of us have not been informed about that. So that is why I'm reacting specifically to that. Because
Yeah.
when I saw it, I'm looking at that thing, meaning there was an external audit and we were left out. So it means something. There's a gap in communication. There's a communication gap. Yes. Yeah. So
Thank you.
basically, that is my reaction.
Thank you very much for the reaction. Okay, that sounds horrible. That sounds horrible when I have both my phone and the computer at the same time. Okay. Thank you so much for the reaction, Mr. Emmanuel. And I think, yes, the committee chair has made it very clear. There is something like a cover letter to the minutes or report of the Finance and Audit Committee, which clearly states that ideally the audit should have happened at a particular date which has been mentioned, as already cited by Emmanuel, but it didn't happen because of external audit, something which also even us we are not aware. And so particularly, I think later on probably we'll need more information from the executive director when presenting probably the finance and executive director report at that particular time. And I think for us, the most important thing now is that the Finance and Audit Committee sat for their meeting and they made serious deliberations here, which I think are very good. And as it appears, it shows that rescheduling date has not been made clear, whether a date has been rescheduled for the internal audit. We do not have any clear information on that yet. And so I think another thing to do would be for the Finance and Audit Committee to provide the board in the next meeting with an update of when the internal audit is going to take place. I think that will be very good. And also to make sure that the roadmap as well as the terms of reference for the internal audit are as well shared with the board. And I think third would be to basically improve internal communication within the Finance and Audit Committee, just to make sure that everyone is informed of what's going on and such that no one is left in the dark and that people know whatever is transpiring within the committee. That is my only reaction to that. Is there another reaction, particularly to the Finance and Audit and Audit Committee report? And I think before that, I would like to as well respond to questions raised by, I think, Irene in her initial contribution about the Finance and Audit Committee, which viewed the committee as unserious and has had only one meeting and calls for more meetings and also for basically radical changes within the Finance and Audit Committee. And I think that I totally understand that you all could be busy in one way or the other. And I think we totally understand that as well. But I think that you all, whether a member or a leader within the committee, you all have a responsibility of holding each other accountable. And that means being able to reach on the other and say, yeah, we are supposed to have this and that, or this, we are supposed to have that and that. I think that would be very good. And as well, keeping that communication channel open is just as critical as anything else of the committee. Yes. So any reaction from any member of the meeting? Okay. So members, if there is no reaction at all, would you just like to signal that there's no reaction at all such that we can move on to the next item since we are racing against time.
Yeah, for me it's fine.
Anyone else? Okay, I think.
Let's carry on.
Okay. Thank you very much, colleagues, for that. I think we are done with the Finance and Audit Committee reports. Just to make it very clear again for the minutes takers, we want the internal audit, the FSC should be able to provide us with information the next meeting of when an internal audit is going to happen, or a date that has been rescheduled, and should also as well be able to provide the board with the roadmap as well as the terms of reference for the internal audit and so forth, and other information that might be necessary for the board to know. Okay, moving on to the next item, colleagues, we have the finance report and the executive director report, which I think can be presented one after the other, since they will all be presented by the executive director. Mr. Benson, would you like to take the floor and be as brief, as concise as possible, keeping time?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Let me share. I'm sharing a screen, and I believe that probably you must have taken time to read through. So I'm going to be going to only some key things, and I hope you will provide also feedback on that at a later time. Oh my God, this thing is opening so slow like this.
Network issues.
No, I'm opening a document in Excel. I think it's opening slower.
Okay. As you're still preparing to open, colleagues, I request that you prepare your inputs to these two reports that have already been with you, I think, for a couple of weeks, probably 2 months, close to a month, and be able to provide your inputs to it after the director presents.
Let me share the screen.
Have you shared the screen now?
I'm already sharing. I'm already
Okay.
sharing the screen.
Okay. I'm not seeing anything, but I think I have the same report. Would you like me to share it?
Sure.
Thank you.
This one.
Um, which report would you like me to share first?
The finance and the finance, it's up there, number one. Oh yeah, it's this one. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, this is the finance report for the month for quarter one, that is January to March 2022. The organization is Community Empowerment for Creative Innovation. It's a quarterly financial report for the period January. So we have serial number, we have particulars, we have amount, and then amount also at the end. So in the particulars, we have 6 items. One, it's sub headed as income. So in the income, we have for the inclusive urban development and mobility in Koboko municipality. That is the CRRF, the project funded by European Union. And then we have the COVID-19 response support to vulnerable refugees and the host community. That is a project supported by like by the Children's Right and the Violence Prevention Fund. And then we have the Response Innovation Lab, that is real, that is in our. And then we have the Watson, uh, which is Basecamp. And then we have savings from project activities. And then we have hire of CECI public address system. So this is the income. This is under the income column. And when you look into this particular specific one, we have 6.7 on something there. You saw that you can see the details there. And then with serial number 2, which is C for C, we have 6.3. And then the response lab, we have 5.7. The Watson Basecamp, we have 1.6, something there. We have the savings from project activities, we have 872. And then we have we have the public address system higher, which is 250. So in total, the income that we receive from the income we have from January to March is 21 million. Is 21 million. Now the expenditures from January to March is 12 million. It's 12 million. So when you subtract that, meaning that the available cash will be around the 11 million. Yeah, around 11 million. And then cash at hand is 600. Can you scroll, please? I'm just going directly to the totals. And I think this is basically what covered. And in this, and I think the expenses, probably I could mention this, from down going up, we have bank charges, we have the Watson Basecamp, and then we have awarenesses on COVID-19, and then we have legal fees, which is the external audit. We have statutory deduction for staff, and then office running and the maintenance cost, and then we have personnel cost. So those expenditures all went into that. Yeah. So this is briefly on the finance. You can click on another thing, which is the asset. It's same thing. You can click on the asset. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the asset register. Okay. This does not have all the details of the asset, but we brought this as a summary. Like I said, I'm going to share with you all with the model and the everything. So, but this is what is here. When you look at it, it's too bulk. I cannot read it all, but we will see something highlighted yellow. I don't know if that is the yellow color. I'm very poor in color.
Yeah, but it's yellow.
Okay, so that highlighted yellow color, it has at the end, under the condition, you see non-functional. So meaning that these are things that are not functioning now. But I think there are certain things that we are able to fix them. Like one of the concern was the issue of the computer, that we have already devised the strategy. When you look at that, the issue of the computer, that is one which is really beyond repair. We cannot, we are going to remove the hard disk and put it in a case. Let's scroll. We have a calculator. We have a calculator which is not functioning now. Where this Bajaj is functioning. I think this one, we were able to fix this. This is a motorbike, Bajaj. Red. This one is functioning. And then we have Airtel Internet Router. That one is not functioning. The reason this Internet Router is not functioning is they said it is outdated now. They upgraded. So whatever we have is as the lowest whatever. So we are supposed to upgrade. So by upgrading means we have to buy a new one. So now you see how these people are putting us into a situation which is beyond us. We're asking, do we take this one back? And then we add a small man. He said, this one is now outdated. So this is your, as now it becomes useless for us. Please scroll. Yeah, I think basically those are some of the things. But what you see here, those are some of the things which are functioning. Yeah, they're all in good condition, eh, vis-a-vis the finances and so on. Yeah, this briefly about the finance report.
Thank you so much. Let me share the executive director report, and just so you go through it and members can
Yes.
react to it all at once.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. This is the executive director's report from the month of January to March. This report is presented to the board of directors during the Q1 meeting, January to March, on 1st April by secretary to the board. So this meeting was intended should have taken place on 1st of April, but we know all these scenarios, incidences that happened. Yeah. This is about the organization background. I don't want to go into it again, but the introduction of the quota, uh, the quarter one has been marvelous with the huge engagement, major focusing on putting the resource strategic plan together, the work plan and the budget projection for 2022-2023. Along this, the institutional audit, annual project reports, and the annual reports uh, have to be cleared off desks as preparation for Q2, which is April to June. So far, progress has been seen within the quarter by management by submitting the 5 proposals to potential funding partners in response to the annual work plan and the annual budget projection 2021. Institutional audit is at the final stage. 2 multi-year projects, 2 final project reports submitted to the partners, continue to strengthen collaborations and the networking by responding to researchers, local informal partners in regard to community engagement, government institution, among others. This report forms part of the institutional report entailing the significant issues around the programming, risks and compliance, funding and the partners tracking, learning and next plan. So under the significant issues, one, we took into consideration the element of staff capacity building. So we realized that it is very core for us to embark on internal capacities enhancement of the staff for quality assurance and the quality service delivery to the people. And then we also realized that there's something very significant is the ownership. We have a team that has the heart of ownership, focusing on they take ownership by focusing on the call by organization to participate in community meetings, community mobilization, resource mobilization, and the like. We also, as something very significant to us to look into, our policies have been branded as a stunting policies. So we took that, particularly the human resource policy and then the finance. These are policies that in the course of the quarter, we had taken deliberate effort to look into those policies and see where the gaps are. Yeah. And then the staff had been really result-based. The work was based on results. So far, we confirmed from the quarter, we confirmed the 2 projects. 2 projects have been confirmed successful, with 5 others submitted to funding partners, like donors, to support some of our strategic thematic areas. And they are informed, yeah. And that was also in relation to our strategic plan. So this is very key, and that is the commitment. And then we also look at something key, which is we thought is very necessary is the institutional audit. The audit process for 2021 has started.
Benson?
Yes, yeah, I had the interference with my call. 2022, we could be proceeding. March 2022, we could not proceed to 2020 due to limited resources. We could have done 2 years audit, but unfortunately, the resources were very limited. We said, let us do the immediate one, and then we'll continue to do the rest. Yeah. Can we scroll, please? So with resources, you see, amid this limited human resource and operation challenges, we continue to exist and build financial self-reliant and made the sustainability of our relationship with the communities. You know, the whole quarter, particularly some of the areas like Bidibidi, will not have now operations. Funding were not there and so on, but we maintained our office and we made sure that the meetings that are happening in the community, we always participate. When we are not able, we always write. Yeah. And that was the thing. With the limited resource personnel that we have, we made sure that we really move on. And that been credited also, we have been credited by the OPM and the NCR for that. Yeah. So we had innovative strategy for fundraising. So the team believed that in order to devise an innovative strategy for fundraising, a focus must first be put on the current activities, prioritize them, and then diversify accordingly. We first identified our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and the threats. And that's how we are able to break through from the quarter. And we hopefully believe that this quarter, we could do extra as management. Yeah. So under risks and the compliance, this is CECI's risks approaches. Of course, risks are predictive. Risks are predictive and compliance. Yeah. So here we have a table. We have put areas of risks and the compliance. We have performance indicator and then status, and then we have comments. So under staff capacity, we say this is the ongoing, and then we have started them. We have started this capacity enhancement, and then we'll continue. We have started with the finance, and then we'll continue with program, and that is it. Yeah, thank you. And then we review of the policies, where we had specific focus on the finance and the HR policies, which at our level, we are trying to identify these gaps and fix them. And then under the status, we said it is going. So after doing all, then we will share with the board. Yeah, so that is it. And then the annual report and the audit. The annual report, we have worked on it. Yeah, we have worked on it. And the status here, our focus is quality assurance. And we said it is in progress. And this we thought we should have shared at the end of the quarter or within the quarter. Yeah, and then the audit, we said it is on progress, and we have started, and all this is meant, and the project specific reports are submitted to the respective donors. Yeah, under resource mobilization, we looked at the call for proposals are shared with the management to write the projects. So we identify the issue, and then we respond according to the needs of the donor. And this is ongoing so far. Under comment, we said so far 5 proposals have been submitted. Yeah. Under accountability, we submitted finances and the project specific reports on monthly basis, and that is it for us to the donors, to the partners, and also to the district. You know, it is not only to the donors. We also have the government whom we have to comply with the rules and the regulations. Yeah, yeah. So we have submitted. We submit those, and then we also have to make accountability to the affected population by giving them feedback on our actions and our engagement, and we always respond. And this is a continuous process, and the staff understand the context, and they are accountable to the existing policies of the organization. And this is a routine. It's a routine. We do this through routine performance appraisal. So yeah, can you scroll? Documentation, activity reports written, filed, meeting minutes are documented weekly basis. Our meetings are on weekly basis. In a week, almost we have 2 meetings, the staff coordination meeting and the management meeting. And then we have pictures, videos, and the voice recording being collected. So all this will ensure that we find them for reference purposes. Communication and marketing, we have regular updates, update of the website and social media handles. And by this, we treat this as a marketing strategy, and we have to give credit to our board chair who acts as the communication officer. Thank you very much. And yeah, and by the way, for this reason, we have been contacted for many occasions, and Mr. Leach was here on ground, and and they got us through the social media. So, and we commend you for that. Yeah, yeah. So under resource mobilization, I can go there just briefly. Some of them I've already mentioned. Yeah. So we have name of a donor or resource partner, status, awarded or declined, the date, amount expected, duration, area of focus, intervention, and so on. Under the EUTF in Koboko, which is ongoing, so we still continue to have the 23,000 euros for 30 months. Now we have finished 1 year, 2021 is over. So this is the second year, and we still under that one. Mostly was under education, children right and the violence prevention. It's ongoing. It's a consortium. The $40,000 for 24 months. We have finished already 1 month. Year 1 we are closing this month. That is the under livelihood. We have MasterCard Foundation, which is already confirmed. In April, we're supposed to start in April, and the process, documentation process is finalizing. I think maybe this week or next week we'll have it confirmed. It is a 5-year project for its peace building and education. So we have the Danida project. We have confirmed already. Actual implementation has started now, though we have not yet documented. Yeah, it runs for 4 years. It is not 3 years. It runs for 4 years. We just submitted the budget on Monday night for 4 years. So it is on peace building, and then refugee-led organization to refugee-led organization. We are prospecting, and we have applied for $194,000 for 24 months. It's livelihood and peace building. And then Julia Tafti is prospecting. The budget is there for 12 months. It's under wash. Legal Empowerment Fund, we were prospecting $50. $50,000 we applied for 12 months. Peace building and the integration of local governance. So United Nations Office of Drugs and the Crime, we are prospecting. We applied for $24,000 for 8 months. It's livelihood and the integration of mental health and the psychosocial support. The Sesame Street prospecting, we were expecting by May. So this, which is now, we have applied for 313,780,000 for 6 months, which is education, particularly under childhood development. So basically, these are the prospect partners that we submitted our proposal into. Can you scroll, please? Or that is all. Yeah, we are the Watson. With the Watson base camp, that was in February. We $1,000. Is it $1,000? 3 months. Yeah, it is a social change and the entrepreneurial skilling. Me, it is very difficult for me to pronounce this word, entrepreneurial skilling. So, other challenges encountered. The staffing number still remains a challenge because it's small, and you see the small number, there's a kind of pressure of fatigue. You have to work extra time and the hour like that. You see, so this is one, and then two, the period for running projects, CRRF and the CRVPF. Eh? These projects, they don't have they don't have running cost, operational cost is not there, so it becomes a little bit very difficult. Very difficult. You have to retain staff. You have to pay for rent. You have to make sure that you this water, at least the tea table, because you don't so much support the staff. You created a tea table to act as a motivation factor for the staff, so that if they don't go and they look for tea outside, you get your tea inside there. So those are the challenges that we get. Learning, learning in quarter one, we saw the consistency of the staff. Our meetings had been regular from January to March. We're able to have 11 staff coordination meetings, fulfilling the annual plan. We also learn from every staff, regardless of your position. We learn from one another, and that is the beauty of it. We also, we don't take these simple things. For us, simple things are not simple. Everything simple is very important to us. Anything hard is very important for us. So we live by that principle. So, and that has helped us really accomplish what is to be accomplished in the month of, in the first quarter. For us, we also believe that small projects, big impact. And that is a way for us to go. I want to assure you that the Watson project, we can say it an activity, the Watson activity. Currently, we are reaping results. So we are reaping success stories from people who benefited. And that brings in the element of small project, big impact. For us, we don't look at the project, but we look at what results will that project bring to us. Yeah. So can you scroll, please? Fragmentary activities and the next plan. Here, we are engaged in supporting. Yeah, we are engaged in supporting sports activities under the EUHF. Yeah, awareness creation and the support of FSLA groups are ongoing under the Sierra VP project. Capacity and organizational development is undergoing under the Sierra VP project. On organization assessment ongoing by CARE International. Field and organization assessment is ongoing by Oxfam. Fundraising is ongoing at the office. So the list is long, but for purpose of this meeting, we just have to leave it there. So thank you very much. I present this report to you as Board of Directors for your information, for your knowledge, and then also for your comments and input. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That's a lot right there. Okay, so just a quick one. Let me find a way of getting back to my screen and being able to stop sharing. Okay. Stop sharing. Okay. Colleagues, I think that was an elaborate report, the financial report and the executive director report that has been presented by the executive director, Mr. Benson. And I think at this point, what we're going to do is that we're going to react to these reports, both reports that have been presented by the executive director. And let's be very concise and direct as possible. And also for your information, just so you are aware that these reports have covered or were made against the annual work plans and the annual budgets. And that means under agenda item number 9A, which has to do with annual budget and work plan, we will not discuss because it's already covered in these reports. And so as you are putting your contribution, you're going to be discussing in the light of what I have just said, particularly in that regard. So I think we have a hand up, particularly from Emmanuel. Mr. Emmanuel, please, you have the floor.
All right, thank you very much. I first have to react on the risk and compliance about the director's report. Risk and compliance. The CECI's risk approach. CECI's risk approach is predictive, and compliance is prescriptive. Now, there are areas of risks and compliance. There's performance indicator, there's status and comments. And my main issue is about performance indicator, because there are two things. There's performance, key performance indicators, and then there are program indicators. So these things have to be differentiated. A key performance indicator generally does with things like general performance of the organization, processes that the organization undergoes, employees and departments. Then the program indicators are also different. They are either quantitative or qualitative measurements, which provides a reliable way to measure changes related to an intervention that has been made by an organization. So we need to differentiate these two. So we need not to generalize that all of them are key performance indicators. We need to know that they are key performance indicators and they are program indicators. That is one of my comments. I think the minute taker is taking it very clearly. That is my first reaction on that column. So we need to have maybe when we are developing that risk and compliance tool, we have to make these things different. I don't know if we are understanding what I am communicating. And resource
Yeah, take a note
mobilization,
of
I
it.
think that is very clear. Resource mobilization is clear. Here, I think I have no doubts on much of these things. I give it a plus. My doubt is only there. And then on the finance, I think we have a lot of talking points, but then I think those will be discussed in the finance committee meeting. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that input, Mr. Emmanuel. I think the minutes taker has taken note. Now we have Ayo, Irene. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, the ED, for their presentation. I must say the team are doing great work. It's really impressive. I want to start with the asset list for the finance report. I'm not going to say anything. Probably much we are going to discuss in the audit committee meeting. The asset list, it's really very good, and my advice is that where they are yellow, so let's maintain this list. We keep adding. If in case we acquire new assets, let's keep adding, and let's keep updating with this yellow, so that the next time we having a meeting, we review and see, are these yellows increasing? Because these kids updating us are being maintained well, or they are getting more problems. If we see many yellow lines, for today, we have the risk. Next time, if we sorry that I'm in a noisy place, I'm not in the place where I started the meeting from. So for today, we have 3 yellow lines. So in the next meeting, when we see that we have 5 yellow lines, then of course we will ask questions. We've seen 4 yellow lines. What happened? What is wrong with these um, assets? And maybe if we can have a comment, very clear comment here. If it is non-functional, why? I think we still have a place there so that we know it's non-functional because of A, B, C, D. That is my comment to the ED. But it's a plus there. It's a plus. It's very good. So I don't know if I'm allowed to summarize even the director's report.
Yes.
Okay. One thing I want to say, director, there's really a team spirit, which is really keeping the organization moving, and the innovative strategy for fundraising is moving on very well, because I have seen we have several proposals submitted, and prospecting. It's series of them. We are prospecting. So that's keep all of us going. And the achievement is overweighing the challenges. That is the beauty. So that gives us little time to talk on the challenges, although there are many, but our achievement is overcoming them. About the office in Bidibidi, where we don't have project, but there is office.
Yes, it's Bidi.
Bidibidi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm, if I'm to comment, I would say because we are renting the office space that side, and we should have some staff on ground there. Why don't we temporarily close the office while attending the partners meeting, anything that taking place there that needs our presence, we travel, we go there, than renting an office that is not functioning to reduce on our costs.
Yes.
Um, I was about to ask questions about our potential partner, that is Oxfam, but I have seen down here that field and organization assessment is ongoing by Oxfam. So we are expecting uh, a report on this, and we see how it goes, because they had been there for us and we still expect them to be there for us.
Yeah.
And at least because we've been talking about getting partners that at least can be there for 4 years. I have seen 2 partners, and congratulations, ED, that we have gotten these 4 years, 5 years project. So at least here we should start discussing about the human resource issues if it is necessary, since we have this project. If it is not yet necessary, because I've seen the staffs are really performing, besides not having the human resource. But if we can have this, staff being, probably inspected by human resource that comes in, we, we might not necessarily hire a human resource, but at least these staff, once a while, we should have a human resource from anywhere, or even director, verifying them, presenting their papers and what of you, so that we know we have the right people in the right place. It's very, very, very important. What is my last comment? There was something here that, yes, the equality. Director, I can say you're a leader. Just you saying learning from everybody, because everybody in the organization is very important. You bringing the staffs to, at the same level, everyone feel valued by, knowing that, yeah, anything I do, everybody learns from me. So that's mean everybody's suggestion is it's important. So that keeps people in good spirit. That keeps every head within the organization up, knowing that they are really important. And when we keep doing that, organization keeps on growing. Although, because an organization like this, it's not an entity where people makes money. It's not a business. It's where we go to serve. So when we motivate staff, like bringing for them tea, valuing them, it keeps them within the organizations. So I want to say you're a leader, and I thank you so much. So let's not focus so much on the challenges, although through the chair, before this meeting ends, let's assess these challenges and see how it affects the daily running of the organization, so that also the management, are not, they also feel their voice, because I know the director presents the voice of the management. So let's assess these two challenges and give director a valued report before the meeting ends. That is from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that elaborate contribution right there. And I think our secretary has taken note of these very important points and action points that have been brought out in the contribution of AO. And yes, this is definitely amazing. We have Emmanuel would like to give his contribution. Please go ahead, Emmanuel.
Yes, mine is just a quick one. On what, just an addition on what Ayo has said. One thing is we shouldn't take that we don't have projects somewhere and so on, because I talked about the KPI, key performance indicators. One of them, they are clearly defined, they are quantifiable, they are adaptable, they are crucial to achieving the organization goals, they are practical, and they are actionable. Then in our risk and compliance, what I've seen is there is employee retention rate. I think if you look at the executive director's report, there is an employee retention rate, because when you see a staff capacity, that capacity building is going on, is ongoing. So there is employee whatever retention. So we shouldn't take anything wrong. There is also donor retention that we are doing. So we shouldn't have the fear. There is also fundraising. There are proposals that are submitted. then our program efficiency is also there as well. So we shouldn't have that fear that there is something that will happen and so on. We should just give ourselves time, maybe a period of 2-3 months, and we measure how we will achieve this. Since I have first read that these things are achievable and they are actionable and they are quantifiable, they can be clearly defined. Are you seeing? Yeah. So these key performance indicators, these are within our organization. So it is upon us to do what we can do. But then in terms of the office, maybe I think for me it should be retained, since even if we don't have anything, according to the executive director's speech, the BDBD office is still being retained. So for me, I think it should be retained since we have submitted proposals. So once we close, it will also be another problem. So maybe we can start maybe with our small funds we have generated. We can start just a small activity.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
Youth maybe
Mr.
to play
Emmanuel,
football.
for that elaborate contribution right there. And I think some of the questions were really direct questions directed at the executive director himself. And I think one issue that has kept popping up again is the issue to do with the office in BDBD refugee settlement. And I think the executive director can speak to that. But as well, I think I can quickly provide a feedback on that the office in BDBD refugee settlement was given to us by Office of the Prime Minister, OPM. So literally, CECI is not paying anything for the office at all. It was given as some kind of appreciation and support or cooperation for the good work that CECI was doing in the settlement. And this was a good gesture from the Office of the Prime Minister. However, if any changes could have happened so far in that regard, definitely the Executive Director, Mr. Benson, please feel free to take the mic and respond to some of this. And also a quick note, I would like to update us that we have got about 10 minutes to go, and that means we might have to borrow a little time. Benson, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, members, for the words that you bring out. It gives me energy and the courage. I, on behalf of the team in office, both in office and in field, yeah, we appreciate, and I will surely extend some of these communications to my team. Yeah, just specifical to the office space. Yeah, as Chair put it, it is the office space is been given by the Office of the Prime Minister, and the duty is that we sit together with the office with the officers of the Office of the Prime Minister. So we sit together with the Assistant Settlement Commander of the zone in same office. Now, why is it a challenge? The challenge is because of the break in terms of funding. Now, staff who will be occupying the space becomes irregular. Now, not always occupying that, only responding during meetings. Yeah, so that's where the challenge is. But in terms of cost, for us, we look at in terms of cost in that line there. If we'll have someone who sits there throughout from Monday to Friday and responds to issues on ground, that will be a plus to us. And they will make us still retain that office. There are two things: retention of the office and the retention of the human resource who will be able to sit in the office. You know, that's a provided office. If we stay 1 week, 1 month without being in it, there are many partners who might come. So the leadership of the office may decide to say that since now this partner is not here, you can be able to sit. So that's something that we're so much curious about, that we continue to maintain that by having our particular staff who is based there to always be coming to office and then to keep the office warm, and then to also provide the recognition and identity that yes, CECI is available here. Yeah, that is the thing, and that's where it was a little bit so tricky and so challenging for us to sustain the staff himself. Yeah, but nevertheless, this was a report that for January and March. Now we are also incorporating discussions of April and May. So and I think our worries are now cleared that effective with this May, the project that is funded by Danida through Oxfam in Uganda now is being given green light. So meaning that from henceforth, we can continue to strengthen and strengthen the office and grant, and probably the look here is that maybe we can get more staff to be there on the ground to support the one who is there. At least we can have another one to make it two, so that we can see to make sure that our programs are effective in the community. I like the way Emmanuel had put it in terms of key performance indicators and the key performance indicators of the programs and some of those things. I like that, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. This is the feedback I can give generally. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the input, Mr. Benson. Mr. Emmanuel, your hand is still up. I am not sure if it was an old hand or if it's a new hand. Is that a new hand or an old hand?
I'm thinking, I think we've already finished on that. Then, as we said, we need to carry some of these action points into the next meeting, and then we see what happens in between. Yes?
Yeah.
That is all. Please.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for that, for sure. And I think I have as well my reactions to the reports presented by the executive director. Okay, as it stands, I think we only have 5 minutes to go. And I think colleagues, since we only have reactions to this, and particularly a short conversation on one item, which is only the policy, I am requesting for an extension of time, probably of only 30 minutes. It might be much, since the other item really of conversation has nothing much for us to do. I don't know. What are your inputs? Yes, Emma. Yes, Emma, please take the floor.
To me, this issue of the board business is annual budget and work plan, policy review. I think this might take us even more than 30 minutes. So to me, we carry it on to the next meeting. I don't know how we will see it. Then we will go to item number 10.
Okay.
Mm.
Let me clarify on a few things. That the annual budget and work plan have already been covered within reports of the finance and executive director. So we are not really going to discuss that as a separate item. And then the institutional audit, the institutional annual report, we are not going to discuss that as well, since it has not been shared yet with the board. So literally, we only have one item under board business that we'll discuss, which is only the policy review, which is only one policy as well, human resource. As you have noticed, the finance policy has not been shared. So that means we only have one item for discussion, because the conversation about the annual budget and so forth, all we're just featuring it all in these reports, because it's a reflection of that itself. Yes. I don't know if this has made a little clarification, Emma.
To me, it has not, because when I saw this report, it's a long document, so we are going to spend. I think it's is it 20 something pages. So it's a long document which will take us long.
Yeah.
That is what I am saying. So 30 minutes might not be enough.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. That is noted. Yes.
What I'm saying, it is
I
40
think
pages.
yes, it's 40 pages actually, but we are not going to review it. That's the point. But rather, we are going to discuss mechanisms how it can be reviewed. So literally, we are not reviewing the document. If at all there are
Okay.
people that have read and would like to provide input, is fine. But it's more like us putting an action mechanism in place for review of the policy. So we are not reviewing the policy actually.
Because like me, I read through and I've seen that there are a lot of things that needed to be added into. So that's why I'm saying it might take a lot of time when we make reactions.
That's right. I also read through it, and yes.
Okay, can maybe we can have like this time to 5?
Your
This
pardon?
time to 5? I'm saying we could have like this time to 5. We can close like at 5. I don't know what members are saying because you are requesting for more 30 minutes.
Yes. Irene had her hand up, and I think yes, to 5, and that is it. It's done.
Yes, Patrick, you've spoken my mind, because that's what I thought. We are going to discuss mechanism on how we can review these policies. Of course,
Yeah.
we cannot review this policy today. Just
Yeah.
we look at mechanism around there, how we can review these policies. So that's why I had to put my hands down, because that is what I wanted to say.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. So are we in agreement that we can have the 30 minutes, colleagues?
For me, it's a yes.
Emmanuel?
Okay, let's have the 30 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Oh, Emmanuel, okay.
Emmanuel, we are so sorry if this is going to affect your schedule. Uh, Definitely. Okay. Uh, Colleagues, just to be as precise as I can, I'm going to provide my quick inputs to the finance report as well as the executive director report. But first, the finance report. I think my quick comments would be that the report is concise, it is simple to understand, and a little comprehensive as well, which is really nice. And I think I want to thank you guys for putting this together at the management. And I think the report, as my colleague members would agree, that it shows great improvements from the last one that we've had, which shows that you guys take criticisms and inputs of the board positively, which is really amazing. And so regarding the finance report, I basically have a few questions that probably might need clarification from the executive director. As per the 2022 annual budget, I think you would have noticed that the budget for quarter one, probably I can share my screen. The budget for quarter one is 347 million 240,000, and that is for quarter one between January and March. So my question would be that how much of this has been realized, and what is the deficit? How will it be covered? And what factors could have caused the shortfall in our ability to meet the target for the quarter, as well. How will this be dealt with going forward? I think that will be my question. The other question had to do with the non-functional laptops, which I think already has been answered. And then my other question would be, how are you ensuring routine asset maintenance, which I think you also tried to answer that. That is completely done already. And then my last question would be, particularly on the finance report, are there any non-monetary contributions that have not been captured in the report that could have been received within the quarter? And what are they? And they were received from who? So I'm going to try to share my screen and input some of the figures that the report has shown. For instance, as colleagues, you might notice, I don't know if you're able to see my screen. I hope so. Are you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. So colleagues, as you will notice, that this is the annual budget for 2022, and I know you all already have this budget, and we have at the top Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, and then the total of the costs. So my question comes in regard to Q1 particularly, which is here. Q1 has, as you might notice here, it has 347,240,000. So when you look at it, I have put in a budget income tracker right here. I think according to the report, and I would like to input it straight away from here. According to the report, the finance report, we realized within the quarter 21,583,018 cents, Ugandan shillings. So if you input this, it means that within the first quarter, we realized from the budget of 300 and that, we have realized 21 million out of that money. And that means we have a deficit of about 325,656,982 cents, Ugandan shillings. It shows that the percentage of what we have realized is only 6.2% of what is required for the quarter. And that means we have a deficit of 93.78% that hasn't been realized. And when you compare this to the annual amount of money that is required, which here, according to the annual budget, is around 763,010,000 Ugandan shillings, it shows here clearly that the percentage of what we have realized out of that all is only 2.8%. And we have a deficit of 97.1% of what we needed for the quarter, or how we are progressing towards achieving the budget for the year. So I hope this tries to give more clarification on the question I am asking. Over to you, Executive Director.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, for that question, and I think you're seeking for clarification. One, I want to make it very clear that in Q1 we have not received any transactions yet. We have not received any transactions. That the monies you see, these are monies which are being from 2021. The EUTF has never made some transaction. We are expecting, particularly for last quarter. Last quarter, up to this is already the second quarter, we have not yet received some disbursement. And we are still expecting, but we have our plans set. Last week we had a meeting and said at least by this month they will do this transaction, which would have covered the quarter one. You know, so now we are doing now readjustment of plans, and then Sierra VPF, we have not received some funds yet, and probably maybe this second quarter we might receive. So that's why you see a lot of gap in that. So we've been keeping what was there for 2021, and then we pushed it for this. That's why we did very small. Even the awareness, the support for sports activities that we did under the UTF, those are transactions which are done for last year. Yeah. So I think maybe this is something that can give. But how do we make sure that we bridge up this gap? One, we are going to readjust our plans, and you realize that we are going to congest some of these interventions based on the activities. Like now, for this year, yes, we realize that we might not, but we will. I am very sure that we might cover this budget maybe by 70 or 80%. That is what I see. Yeah. So this is what I can say. And we realize that also the first quarter had been so much on reporting, assessments. You know, we underwent a lot of organizational assessment from different partners. So we anticipate that before this year ends, I know it is going to call a lot from us in terms of giving our time, but we are going to just comply. Yeah, that is it. And the effective implementation of intervention probably it's going to begin now in quarter two. Yeah, in quarter two and moving forward. Yeah. The issue of monetary contribution or non-monetary contribution. Yeah, we in the first quarter we did not receive non-monetary contributions, but I think in the second quarter we received some clothings. By the way, this is something that I was thinking this is something that already passed, and even as I talk now, we also received some face masks. So these are non-monetary contributions that we received. Probably this will feature in the quarter two report. We cannot bring it now. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Thank you so much for the clarification, Mr. Benson. And I think I want to reiterate what I think Irene said that, is it Irene or Duarte, that you should share those assessment reports with the board. And I think this should be clearly captured within the action points, that all these assessments that have been ongoing, the report should be shared with the board.
Yeah, I think just a quick one on that. The assessment we had with the auction is a manual assessment. We have already the report. I think I signed on the report last week, and we scanned and sent a copy, and that one will be shared with the board. This happened, I think, in this quarter. Yeah, and then the other assessments were mostly done online. Yeah, and then there's one that which was done in Gulu. I think will call on the program manager that we sit together and then generate a report particularly on that assessment. So it's been so comprehensive. We had these 2 days in Gulu, particularly just to assess the organization, and then that was a plus at our side as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that clarity. Okay, I think my next comments would be on finally the executive director report. I'm going to be as brief as I can. One, the report was very well written, comprehensive, and I think it shows very significant progress made, as has been already noted by Irene, by Luate. I think it shows really significant progress that is being made, and I think kudos, guys. That's great job. I think we've already made it very clear that there is need for you to share the annual institutional report with the board. there is a need for you to share the audit report with the board, and I think these have been clearly earmarked and probably will feature in the action points. And also, I think for me, another comment would be that next time when audit decisions are being made, make sure to involve the finance and audit committee, or at least the board or some personnel within there. And then the other would be that it's important to share the final project reports with the board. This is vital for internal audits, and it's also vital for knowledge keeping. It helps us within the board to be aware of what transpired in what project and so forth, just in case in an event where the board or any board member might be needed to participate in an assessment of the organization, which might be project specific and so forth. And I think without that knowledge, it would be very difficult for.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Emmanuel saying something? I didn't get him. Okay. Emmanuel, you can unmute and say that again. I don't know if
I
you are
either
talking
did
to
not
us.
understand. Probably he was probably taking a call or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I was disturbed by a call.
Okay.
I was disturbed by a call from my mother somewhere, so I had to pick and tell her I'm in a meeting.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank you for letting us know. Yes. And then the other input is for the executive director, particularly the management, to feel free at your will, of course, at your will, to involve some key personnel within the board or the finance and audit committee when it comes to, for example, reviewing some of your proposals and so forth. And that is only when you see there is a need to. And in an event that is not, you don't see any, there's no problem at all. But this is just another way that board members can be of support to the management and resource mobilization as such. And I think you will agree that they can provide as well very valuable insights into the proposal as well.
Sure.
Yes, Mr. Benson?
No, I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And then my question would be that as per the 2022 work plan for CECI, the annual work plan, I think several programs have been planned for Q1 and distributed within the 9 objectives of the annual work plan. As colleagues, you might have noticed, the annual work plan has got about 9 objectives. The first objective looks at data-based programming. The second objective looks at human resource strengthening, which I think Benson has talked lengthy about it. The third objective looks at peace building programming, while the fourth objective looks at skills-based life education. The fifth looks at livelihood resilience programming. The sixth looks at environmental conservation programming. The seventh looks at resource mobilization enhancement, and I think which has come out very clear in the reports. The eighth being results-based reporting, which has more to do with, which also I think has been discussed in here, the KPIs, the so forth, which is more of monitoring, evaluation, accountability, learning, known as MEAL. And the third, the ninth one being, which is the last of the objectives of the annual work plan, being strengthening of internal governance and management, which I think the executive director has reported a lot to do with that as well. Maybe Mr. Executive Director, my question here would be that do you think all of the objectives or the targets for Q1 have been achieved? If not, what remains? And particularly, how many people benefited from what programs of the organizations in Q1? And what could have affected attainment of some of these targets? And I think this question particularly, you have answered some of these things. Probably you just want to provide on how many people have benefited and what remains and so forth. And the last question being, do you have any steps that you are taking to tackle staff overload? Because I know colleague staff will suggest so many other options, including whether it being involving attracting volunteers or staff and so forth. Yes, over to you, Benson.
Yeah, thank you. That was interrupted a bit. I could not pick some of the things. But first of all, before I come directly to the questions you asked, I want to bring in one key important thing. First of all, on behalf of the management, want to tender my apology for taking a decision, particularly on the audit. I realized that it was very key from our meeting with the Audit and Finance Committee. Yeah, action points were taken, but it became a little bit very tricky. But I acknowledge that in between, there was a breakdown in communication, so we're not able really to communicate. So my apology on behalf of, on my own behalf and on behalf of the management. Yeah, and then, you know, the audit report, it goes together with the annual report. Why the annual report also delayed a little bit is because we wanted the audit report to come out, and then it becomes like an annex to be attached together. So we kept the draft of the annual report until I think today when I shared with the chair to have his inputs and before it is shared with the members all. Yeah, but this does not mean that the audit report is out. The audit report has a couple of questions, the queries that we have to respond to as management, and we have to do consultations here and there to make it complete. So finally, it is this morning that I confirmed that now everything is fine. So the final version will be sent late today or tomorrow, and then will be shared with the board members to also append their signatures. The chair and the chair of the audit committee, the finance, is a signatory there, and then the board chair, and then the executive director. All of them will have to sign into that report to make it final. So this is what I want to bring into your attention for now. Yeah. To the question, yes, we realize there are gaps, like I said, and in terms of people reached, yes, in terms of establishment, unfortunately, our engagement came a little bit late when we already established, when the reports are already worked. In terms of reaching, in terms of the target beneficiaries, in terms of capacity building in the office, yeah, this is we do it routinely. It's on-job mentorship we do, and unlike for finance, we did one for 2-3 hours, particularly on finance management, key things which are necessary for finance. Yeah, but then the community, yes, we have been reaching communities, particularly Labule refugee settlement, and then in Koboko here, there's no specific figure which has been established now that I can make it present to you, but we have them in the activity reports, which I think will extract. Unfortunately, from the month of January to March, what we so much got engaged into was data collection. The result, we got a collection of data in terms of measuring our results, our impact in the communities. So that's what we have been doing. So with that, I think the people that we reached, particularly in the month of January, who benefited from our services from 2021, We have reached about 207 people. Those are assessing how our services are, how they have benefited, how those services needed improvement, and so on and so on. So just in brief, I could say this is what I've picked from you, and I agree, and I agree that how we can involve the board is one. We will expect that the board be able to be an eye, be there as an eye to share with us opportunities. And then two, when you share with us these opportunities, we put our ideas, we can also be able to share with you and have your ideas also incorporated, how this thing can be channeled and so on. So I think this is something that probably we have not been doing, but I've taken note of it already. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Benson. I think that is done. Colleagues, as we are coming to the closure, I think
this might answer your question. According to the Government of Ontario, as of 21st of January, social gatherings are closed in Ontario.
Siri,
Additionally,
keep quiet.
Retail stores, restaurants, and bars are open with strict social distancing guidelines. Masks are required to be worn at social gatherings, places of worship, retail stores,
Oh my goodness, so sorry guys. Siri had an issue. I think it had me speaking and then just picked up, thought I was asking her a question. So sorry about that. Okay, so yes, Duarte.
I still insist we skip the policy review for the next meeting. I don't know how you people are saying it. We skip it, then we come to we've already reacted. Maybe we come to the closer, we review action points, then next meeting, and then we adjourn the meeting. That is what I'm thinking, seriously, because time has gone. We borrowed 30 minutes and we are left with only 2. I don't know if it is right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that is perfectly fine. Yeah, and I think we have a difference of, I don't know whether 2 minutes or mine is indicating I have more 4 minutes to go. Yours is indicating you already have 2 minutes. Okay,
Mine is
no
indicating
problem.
0.
Okay, so I think colleagues, we can all agree that let's forward the policy review to the next meeting of the board. Yes, Irene, please go ahead.
Mine is about the 2 challenges, which it is on the report of the ED. If we would at least analyze and see how we can support the management with this, because it might look minor from us, but from them might be serious, because even the management will want a report from him. If you presented our challenges, what was the reaction of the board? So if we can sacrifice maybe 2 minutes, we look at these challenges.
That was a very important contribution right there. I think that is very true. I think the challenges cited were just 2, and yes, the magnitude. Regarding the staff overload, I think from my own opinion, I would suggest that we find ways of attracting volunteers to support in some of those other not very technical tasks, such that the staff can concentrate or can share the workload with the volunteers and they focus on some of those more technical issues that really need them. But yes, that is only an idea from me. And colleagues, please, you're open to present your ideas. You have the floor. Yes, Luate, please go ahead.
Basically, to me, I think maybe if some of these issues are burning to us, we will have to organize an emergency meeting in between. I don't know how you people are looking at it as a way forward. We organize an emergency meeting and we iron out what we have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a suggestion of organizing an emergency meeting to tackle some of these issues. Ayo, you have the floor.
Thank you. For me, these challenges were brought by the ED. If he would propose how we can help, maybe because he sits there, he's the one with the staff, he's the one on front line. If he can tell us how best can we help in these two challenges, because we need to handle situation before maybe, because again in the next meeting or tomorrow we might have another challenges. But if we fail to handle this one, so they will keep on accumulating. So ED, please help us. How can we support in this? Are they really affecting our operation, or you feel they are minor? We can let go of them.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And thank you for making it a concern that these are issues that need to be addressed. One key thing is about the issue of the staffing. Yeah, it was a little bit very difficult for us to cover up that. You know, even a volunteer, we resolved that we could bring volunteers, and we took that decision also actually to say, let us identify for volunteers who can be able to support us in running in doing our business, our daily business in the office. Yeah. So, but but you realize also these volunteers we bring, they they also have their interests. So, and that is one thing that made it a little bit difficult. Those who accept comes, but you realize that you cannot also keep somebody from morning to evening in the office like that and so on. So that's why we play this role of being flexible enough within the small number of staff. We handle multiple things at a go, and that is the energy that we have put. Yes, it is a need. It is a need. Should we get more projects now? It is a need. But I believe that when it comes to projects in the near future, probably this project will cater for the staff, for the respective staff designated in the different positions. Yeah. So I think for now, I would suggest that what the board need to do to say, yes, where volunteers can accept, remove this motion, where volunteers can accept, they can come and join us, but in good faith as we move together. And yeah, but where they cannot, the team available still have to play multitask role to ensure that gaps are filled at a certain point. And there is a commitment for all the staff, and we live by hope. That is what I can say for now. But otherwise, I think we might not do even a lot here now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Benson. I think our time is up. We really appreciate your input. I think this issue is important and we can forward it for discussion, further discussion. Yes, in the next meeting, and it's done. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And I make an addition.
Okay.
Because he has spoken of voluntarism. Now we can we can get volunteers from the community, and we can get other volunteers through these ones from school, interns. Why don't we use that resource as interns to also develop our human resource? It is an addition, is it not so?
It is.
We can use interns. Thank you very much. That was my addition I want to make on voluntarism.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Okay, colleagues, I think for more deeper or further discussion on this item should be forwarded to the next meeting of the board. And also members have agreed that the board business to do with the policies and the institutional world should be forwarded to the next meeting. I think, colleagues, we are done with agenda item number 10, which has to do with the reactions and way forward. We are done with the probable item number 11, which has to do with another business. We have already discussed another business anyway. The next thing would be reviewing our action points, but that is going to take a lot of time, which we don't have at the moment. Colleagues, please allow me that we don't review any action points at the moment. Rather, what I would just say are a few, announcements that our next board meeting for quarter number 2, which is April to June, will be in early July 2022. And that means I'm going to be sending out the doodle polls to you with the time suggestions and dates, and please be able to participate in them in these polls. Otherwise, before we can wrap everything up, I'm giving a chance, 10 seconds for everyone to say their final words. 10 seconds.
Just a quick one. Did you say July? Did you say early July or June?
Yes, early July 2022. That's when the meeting for quarter 2 will be, because June ends in June ends, I think, not on the weekend.
30th,
I don't know, but yes, but we can make it within there. Yeah, early July, we can make it around there. Yeah, I will send out date suggestions anyway with the time and stuff. Okay, I think you have 10 seconds. Please feel free to unmute and say your final words, and then I can wrap it up. Over to you.
Basically, for me, I would say it has been very good. Only that I've been disappointed because this was not our number. This was not our number in attendance. Then it has come like that. We had to persevere with the number. But then I pray that through Benson, he's listening to me. He has to mobilize the team so that we'll be in large numbers. Because we can't make decisions when we are very few. Seriously, it doesn't make sense. Thank you very much. One love.
One love. Thank you. Ayo.
My last word is that let the positivity continues, and let's hope and aim higher. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's a night. Okay. Thank you.
Already get the night. Yeah, thank you very much. Just a quick one. You see, Emmanuel, we were led by our policy. Our policy says the board members are 5. So you see us one is missing. so I think that's a clarification I'll make, but assuredly, the presentations that I've made, it is a combination of over 10 people actually who is being represented by myself. Don't worry yourself. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. God bless you. For God and my country, God bless South Sudan.
Thank you so much, colleagues. I think I will not take long as well. First, I want to thank you very much once again for turning up for this meeting today. And a quick note, the recordings of the meeting will be shared with you on email, such that in case you would want to review this conversation, and also for members that missed, they can be able to access and have a knowledge of what was discussed in this meeting. Lastly, every inch of growth of the organization is a reflection of our collective efforts. It's a reflection of our hard work, all of us, whether it being the board members, the staff, the volunteers, the interns, and everyone else that is working with us. When you see every inch of growth, that is a reflection of our hard work. And I think this shows that your efforts are not in vain at all, but rather your efforts are contributing to a bigger picture, which is creating a safe, inclusive world for all. And I really want to thank you very much for these tireless efforts you continue to commit. And may you please continue to commit this. And we look forward to touching greater heights together. From me, I want to thank you very much and wishing you to have a very great weekend ahead. Otherwise, for God and my country, thank you.